hopefully this works. Give me this. There we go. Alrighty. Oh my gosh, that's loud. Turn that down. Alright, let me first get this in here. How's it going, everyone? We got 20 people watching already? My goodness. Definitely not complaining. Let me do this. Just give me a little bit because I need to. This is my first time streaming on my desktop computer, so let me just get a little bit of time to get used to everything. Also, let me know the balance, like the audio balance, if it's good or not, because I'm currently streaming on the YouTubes, and YouTube can be excessively loud sometimes. Alright, do this. Gonna add all of you in the Discord.
Hero is bottom 20, and if Bay says otherwise, he's wrong, and don't believe him, he's a communist.
So that was one of the bays. Alright, give me 1 second. Time to listen to my relaxing voice for an hour. It might be longer than that. Also, chat, let me know. So I know this tier list, this is the main tier list that I use, and I understand that it was, I guess, it was affiliated with someone who was recently allocated and alleged to be an abuser. So, but I've been told that this tier list is now fine to use because, as you can see, person is no longer here and has been replaced by DeBuzz, and DeBuzz is a fantastic person. So is it okay if I use this tier list? I personally like it the most. I think it's very clean looking. But I would, if like this tier list makes, you know, people uncomfortable, I can definitely switch to a different site. Because it's probably fine. It won't matter. Okay, that's what I thought. Because obviously, I don't want to, you know, be affiliated with anything of that matter. So just wanted to check and make sure. Okay, so first off, I guess while we are here, let me go ahead and put out these the tiers, and let me do a quick explanation for each of them. So do this. That, bam, there we go, and last but not least we got bottom tier. Okay, so how this is going to work is I have a tier list on my other computer, on my laptop, which is right here, and so that's what I'm going to be referring to. I actually decided to plan something out for once, but yeah, basically these tiers I've separated into just my thoughts, just general relative, I guess, competitiveness and viability, and that's what I'm going to go with. So bottom tier is just the worst of the worst. These are characters that I think, unless you just get an extremely lucky bracket, will never be able to shine. These characters I think need significant buffs, and I think just get outclassed by basically all other characters in the game. Low tier is the tier I reserve for characters who I think are slightly below average. These characters generally have, they do have some positives, but they generally have a lot more negatives, or slightly more negatives than they do positives. So that's where those characters belong. Lower mid tier is where are characters who I consider to be average, like middle of the pack. These are characters that I think have equal positives and equal negatives. These characters can do well in tournaments. I think they can at least put up a fight. Whether they can win a tournament is a different story. I think they would need extremely lucky brackets, but you can at least put up a fight with them. Upper mid tier is where I think characters start becoming start becoming competitively viable. I'm not saying these characters like upper mid tier are like just hands down you can use them in tournament and you'll have no problems. You definitely will. They still have some glaring flaws, but these characters I think definitely have qualities and characteristics that outweigh their negatives. They have a lot of really good stuff. So that's what upper mid tier is. High tier is just the characters. These characters are good. These characters are fantastic. They are relevant in this current meta, and you need to be prepared to deal with them. And then top tier is just that, but one level up. It's the best of the best. These characters have so many good positives, so many good things going for them, and the amount of weaknesses they do, and to the point where their weaknesses, which are very few, do not even matter because they just have so many good things. So that's what we're going to go with. I wish I had like a place, a Word document or whatever to like show what each tier list means or what each tier means, but that's what it's going to be. So let's start at the bottom tier. And like I said, or not like I said, before I get further into it, just remember, this is my opinion. Don't take it to heart. If you think a character is lower or higher than where I put him, don't be mad. It's fine. It's just an opinion. My opinion, all opinions are inherently biased. I'm a Mewtwo player. I don't play every character in the game. So it's just what I personally think. And yeah, feel free to disagree with me. Just be cordial in the chat. And yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say. So let's get started. The worst character in the game. Also, I should mention that this is patch 8.0, but it's only been out for very little. And while this is offline, this is going to be an offline tier list, and we haven't seen any offline tournaments yet. Just keep in mind that things are very subject to change. The patch has only been out for, what is it, like 2 or 3 weeks? So definitely something that can change. But the worst character in the game, in my opinion, is Ganondorf. I think this character is not good. I know I recently made a combos and neutral video guide on it, or on him, and he does have some good stuff. Like, he has amazing damage output. His combo game is like kind of bad, but it doesn't matter that much since his combos are basically 2 and 3 hit combos that will deal massive damage. So that's all fine and dandy. The problem is that his move kit is just attached to the slowest, bulkiest, like just one of the worst physics character in the game. He cannot get back to stage. Him in disadvantage, Ganondorf in disadvantage is one of the worst characters, if not the worst character in the game, like hands down. I would much rather edgeguard a Ganondorf than a Little Mac. Because at least Little Mac can kind of brute force his way back to the stage with the side B, because that side B has like a huge hitbox. So like, of course, if you hit Little Mac off stage without his double jump, he's dead. But that's kind of the same thing for Ganon, in my opinion. Maybe Ganon has like technical, like better vertical recovery, but both of them drop like bricks, and I just think Ganondorf cannot maintain neutral nearly as well as Little Mac does. They both get camped out equally as well. Or equally as easily. So I think Ganon just overall is the worst character in the game. With that being said, Little Mac is not far behind. These two I definitely think are the contenders for the worst characters in the game. But Little Mac is bad in a different sense because he is fast. He has good normals outside of his aerials, of course, but he just hits extremely hard. He's got, like, if he can get in, the matchup, if Little Mac can get in on an opponent, the matchup tends to go towards even. The problem is getting in and just making sure that you stay within striking distance, because as soon as you get walled out, because Little Mac is one of the easiest characters to just camp and wall out with projectiles and stuff. I've already talked about, like I said, with the Ganondorf, how easy it is to edgeguard Little Mac, and a lot of the times when Little Mac's recovery becomes a liability is when his double jump is gone. So good Little Mac players are going to conserve their double jumps, obviously, but just having that much pressure, not having a broken recovery is kind of a problem. And I think Armada actually said it best. He basically said in this game, everyone's recovery is super good. So if you do not have a really good recovery, that becomes a liability. And that's kind of how it is in Ultimate. And Little Mac has one of the worst recoveries in the game, next to Ganon. Okay. Moving on to low tier. Like I said, these characters I think are decent. They are just slightly below average. We're going to start with... Do I want to start with Kirby? I think we'll start with Doc. I'm starting to second guess my tier list now. I think Doc probably is the next worst. The buffs that he did get in patch 7.0 are good. They definitely helped him because now he has like up B shenanigans, he has stuff out of down tilt. That's all fine and dandy, but he's just so slow. Like that's his main problem. Again, if he had similar to like Ganondorf, if they were just a little bit faster, they would be amazing. I shouldn't say amazing, but they would be so much better. Because the problem is Dr. Mario also gets camped out pretty easily just because he's so slow. Yes, he has pills and stuff, but he can get circle camped so easily. He cannot move very well vertically. He moves horribly horizontally. His pressure is kind of just centered around just mashing back air and neutral air and up air around the shield, which is fine, I guess. But if you don't get poked, then you just get a free punish on him. So yeah, I don't think Dr. Mario is that good. We got Kirby is next. Again, Kirby, so here's the thing. Kirby, even though I do think Kirby's like the 4th worst character in the game, Kirby is not that bad. Like, I think the difference, I guess power level from Little Mac to Dr. Mario is pretty significant. And the power level between Dr. Mario and Kirby is pretty significant as well. Kirby got some pretty good stuff this patch, and he got more kill power, which is always good. Kirby's always had decent combos. Again, they kind of depends on the stage that you're playing on, but Kirby for the most part is like pretty good in that front. Again, the problem just comes down to speed, how slow Kirby is in the air. Just gets walled out by projectiles. But once you get something like if Kirby gets like that power up with Pikachu's Thunder Jolts or even Mewtwo Shadow Ball, the matchups become so much more doable because now you can't just camp Kirby out. Kirby's got a projectile now, and that's really good. But the problem is usually to get that you need to drop your combo to do that, and that's a problem. So Kirby's got some really good stuff. I don't want to deny that. You definitely need to know what you're doing, how to play the matchup. You got to be very, very patient. But unfortunately, if we're talking about like the highest level of play, I just don't see a way that Kirby can get around certain matchups. So moving on, the last one in low tier is Incineroar. Now I know, again, the Incineroar buffs were pretty good. He definitely got some good stuff. He's got a surprisingly good combo game for how slow he is, both on the ground and in the air. But again, the problem is that he's just, other than, like, despite having that good of a combo game, he's just so slow. Again, slow enough to the point where it becomes a huge liability. He gets walled out pretty easily, and I know he has a frame 3 counter in his Revenge. But even if that happens and he gets super powered up, you just camp him out if you have good enough air mobility, which a lot of characters do. So a lot of I guess his scare factor in terms of being able to just get someone from 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 or whatever because of that Revenge is kind of fake. Because a lot of the times you can just either camp him out or just wait for him to whiff that side B and then just grab him, and then his Revenge is gone. So Incineroar, like I said, I don't think he's bad. I think he's better than Kirby, but he's slow enough to the point where it becomes a struggle. So yeah, How's it going, Martin? I'm sorry, I'm actually not looking at the chat that much. Just trying to do everything. How's it going, Baselard? We're just doing a little tier list. I'm waiting for everyone to just roast me. It's really hard to like talk and also read the chat. So probably when I watch this back over, I'm just gonna see everybody just absolutely roasting me like a marshmallow. Okay. Next up, we got lower mid tier. So again, average characters. Characters who have equal good and equal bad. And to start this off, let's go with... Actually, hold on. Maybe there's one more character I want to put down. I think I actually kind of want to put King DDD in low tier. First of all, where is the man? There he is. I don't know, cause like, DDD got some pretty good stuff this patch, but just again, him being so slow, and a lot of his neutral is just double jump into either back air or neutral air, and then maybe into a combo if you do the latter. So yeah, I don't know. I think I would actually put DDD here. He's very close to being an average character, but he's still eh. Like, I think before I would definitely put him like behind Dr. Mario, but I think his power level got increased a little bit from this patch, and I think he is very close to becoming like an average character. So yeah, that's what I would say. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Now moving on to lower mid tier. So first up, this might be our first hot take of the session. We got the Belmonts. The more I thought about it, the more I think this character loses neutral once. It almost seems like they lose the stock, and that is not good. Like, let's talk about the positives first. They have really good range, insane range. Their zoning is crazy. Like, their zoning, if you don't know how to deal with it, and even if you do know how to deal with it, it's still a struggle because they just do so well of covering so much ground. They have the freaking side beat that allows you to just cover basically, I think it's like 3/4 of a stage, or if not 2/3, some crazy amount. You have the neutral B, the axe, which just covers a lot of area, a lot in the air. The down B is really good for ledge trapping. Like, they have some really good stuff. Their ledge trapping is crazy. The problem is when their disadvantage is in disadvantage, and unfortunately, saying in a perfect world you'll never be in disadvantage, I don't think is very reasonable, because this is Smash. You are going to experience every single aspect of this game, and I think it's kind of silly to not take into account their horrible disadvantage state. Like, I'm a Mewtwo player. Mewtwo's disadvantage is not good. I'll be the first one to tell you that. I will gladly take Mewtwo's disadvantage state over Simon and Richter's. Their only way to land I can think of is like a risky down air, maybe mixing up, maybe B-reversing the axe so they can mix up their landing, maybe using neutral air as a fast fall, but their neutral air even then is like super small. So I don't know, like that disadvantage, I think it just feels like as soon as you win neutral, you're just going to kill him, and that's a problem. So yeah, character of extremes. I think it's weird for them. Okay, moving on. We got Mii Sword Fighter. Sword Fighter. Mii Sword Fighter, I think, is the worst of the Miis. I think. So again, let's start with the good stuff. They actually got some pretty underrated projectiles, in my opinion. That little circle blade thing is really good. The Chakram is also really good. Tornado, even though it's slow, I also think is good enough where you have to respect it, because if you get hit with it, you are in for a pretty big beating. So that's all good. Their one problem is that they are super slow. Also, being a sword fighter is always good. That means you have disjoints. So he's basically a slow swords fighter, slow swordy with projectiles, and that in itself is good. the concept behind him, like his core, at his core, that's really good. The problem again is just he's too slow to really make full use of everything that is given to him. So yeah, that's what I would say. I don't want to spend too much time because I don't want this video to go on for like 3 hours, but that's, I think, a pretty good synopsis of what I wanted to say. Recovery can be good and bad, based on what you use. But yeah, I think that's good. Okay, next up we got... I was gonna say Meta Knight, but I actually don't think that's the case. I think... What up, Blau?
Heroes bottom 20.
Okay, that's cool.
If you don't put him in lower mid tier, you're just wrong. At least.
Alright, hold on. You are actually... Could you turn down your volume a little bit?
No,
Just a tad.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay, cool. Alright, moving on. We got Meta Knight. Also, by the way, chat, this is Blau. He is one of the bays. He plays what? Samus, Hero... Who else? Wait, is he gone? No, you're not gone.
I got distracted from... wait.
Okay, now you're too low. You're too quiet.
God damn. Alright, what about that?
Alright, screw it. You know what? I'm just doing this.
Nice.
That's probably good.
No work for me.
Cool. So I was gonna put Meta Knight here, but I actually think DK might be worse. Yeah, I'll put... I don't know. I feel like these two... I can't really decide who is going to be who I want to put for after the other. Because Meta Knight, I think, is a really good counterpick character. But any character that just doesn't get comboed by a dash attack, I think just kind of is fine against them. And once you're out of that range where he can dash attack into up air, up air, up air, up B into shuttle loop, I think the his matchup chart becomes a lot scarier for him. But I'm not entirely sure. I want to say DK is better, just simply because DK, he can live longer. He is a heavy, which also kind of sucks because heavies kind of suck in this game. Also, don't believe any of that DK crap you see on Twitter, because that's all nonsense. But yeah, DK's got pretty good normals. He's got really good advantage state. That's like the main thing. His problem really lies in his inability to land and his kind of lack of neutral. He also doesn't have great out of shield options, at least to my knowledge.
I mean, DK is pretty awful.
Yeah, I don't think he's awful. He definitely has some good stuff. Just whether that good stuff is enough to kind of overpower, I guess, everything else, like everything that's bad about him. And I'd say it's probably pretty close to the middle. He has a really exploitable recovery, and yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I want to say this is probably a good Meta Knight than DK, which feels weird because like I don't think it's like the 5 characters I put in lower mid tier, I don't think are that bad, yet they are like the bottom 10. You have Ganondorf, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this is like our bottom 10, which I think for a competitive game, I think is awesome, because the fact that I can believe that, or make the argument that 6 characters are below average, I think is awesome. I think that's really good balance for this game. A little bit of a tangent, albeit, but that's what we're gonna go with. So, moving...
Have you played much DDD this patch?
I've played against DDD. I played against a couple DDDs. They, for the most part, haven't... Like, the playstyle hasn't changed that much. That's the thing. It's just some of their combos kill a little bit earlier, which is significant. But K-roll bottom tilt? No, absolutely not. But yeah, it's like the game plan for DDD has like stayed the same, which is what keeps me from putting them any higher than low tier. but he's still like not bad. Like he's very close to being here. Like if people wanted to say he's lower mid tier, I would be fine with that. Okay, moving on. We got Lucario. This character,
Awful.
obviously,
Doesn't work.
really good comeback factor. Let's just talk about the aura. Aura is crazy. You can kill people anywhere from like, you can kill people as early as like, 30 to 40, 50%. That's really good. The problem is you kind of need to take a huge beating to get to that point.
Yeah,
And-
by the time you're at that point, like, you're gonna die.
Yeah, and so by the time you're at that point, you don't have the weight to really survive much longer. So at that point, you kind of need to play a perfect game, and that unfortunately is not great.
No, it's pretty bad.
But if you can get to that point, like honestly, 80%, Lucario at 80% is a decent character. It's just you're usually not going to be at 80%. You're usually going to be a lot higher. So I don't know. I'd say Lucario is rightfully just out of bottom 10, but he's still not great. Okay, moving on. Isabelle. Isabelle's buffs actually are pretty good. What is it? Down air and up air being faster. I think that was the buffs. That's all really good. A lot of people I think have underrated Isabelle a lot, and especially
It's pretty bad.
like she's not amazing, but she has relatively good tools, at least for zoning. Her whole problem is that I think a lot of her kit is a little counterintuitive because she's got some kill confirms out of jab. Like you could do jab into like down smash or whatever. Like that's all good. The problem is that first of all, jab is extremely stubby. It's just like a little squeaky hammer that just barely covers in front of her. And also her whole I guess concept as a character is to be a zoner. So to say that your kill confirms as a zoner are to get in close, I don't see how that is very synergistic with her kit. So yeah.
I don't know. She's just not. A lot of her moves just don't work. I feel like they're just not.
Like her moves
Don't
either
have enough range or
yeah.
too small. Don't do enough knockback.
It's definitely a struggle. I don't think she's horrible though. Like I've played against Pokelam, who was one of the Isabelle players that were at my tournaments I went to. That shit sucked. That was so hard to get around. But once I learned the matchup, it become like the Isabelle became a lot better. Like or not a lot better. The matchup, like my matchup, became a lot easier for me to deal with. So yeah, Isabelle's like pretty weird. I would like to maybe see her get buffed. I don't know. She like a lot of these characters I would be fine if they were like the main characters I want to see get buffed are like right here, the bottom 6. But
The bottom 6. DDD can stay down there, honestly. Like
actually, wow, can you see my screen?
yeah. Well, I'm just watching the stream.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. Moving on. Next up, barely sneaking out of the bottom 10, we got Corrin. So the Corrin buffs again do matter. It definitely puts my placement up for Corrin a lot higher. Well, I guess I shouldn't say a lot higher, but higher. Cosmos saying I don't know if he was serious, but he said he was dropping or he was just going to be solo Corrin main. That's going to be really good because now we actually have a top player playing Corrin. And so I could, assuming Cosmos does like, and assuming we get back to normal tournaments, I can see Cosmos being, or not Cosmos, Corrin being upper mid tier with enough lapping done. But as it stands right now, I just do not see enough that really puts Corrin in like anywhere higher than low mid tier. She again is really slow. She has good combos. She has good confirms. Her projectile is pretty good, but
I think she's.
she doesn't have anything that's outstanding to just exactly to like compensate for how slow she is.
Like you have to use back air to get back to stage, or like you might not make it back.
Mm-hmm.
Which
So-
is not good.
And again, like not having a broken recovery is kind of not good. Like it's
In
weird.
comparison to everything else that other people have, she's bad.
Yeah.
But
Like all these characters, I think in a vacuum, I think are really good, but just compared to like the rest of the cast, because as you notice, I only put 6 characters into low and bottom tier combined, which means the rest of the cast is either in this tier and above. So
for sure.
like, I think there are so many good characters in this game, which is what makes this, which is what making a tier list, what makes it making this tier list so difficult. But yeah, I think that's good for Corrin. Let's move on to Bowser Jr. Now I'm a little confused with Bowser Jr. because there are some things I've seen some Bowser Jr.'s do some crazy things, and that's kind of just my bias coming into play. But he doesn't, again, it's very similar to Corrin, where he doesn't seem like he has enough amazing things to compensate for, one, being a big body, 2, not being the fastest character. Bowser Jr. equals budget Sonic. See, I would have said that back in Smash 4. In this game, no, because Sonic can at least camp. You can't really camp nearly as well with Bowser Jr., which is unfortunate.
Bowser Jr.'s recovery is not broken.
So, yeah, I don't know. Bowser Jr. just feels very of a character. Like he has some good stuff. He also has some bad stuff. I can't count how many. I've lost count of how many times I've just neutral aired as a Mewtwo. I've just neutral aired Bowser Jr. as he was trying to up B, and he just falls to his death.
Yeah, it's just over if you get hit.
Like that's garbage.
It's really bad.
So I don't know.
He stays down there. I think I don't think there's much.
I wish I could give like a better explanation for why I think this, but I just cannot think of a better.
He's just not great.
Yeah. So let's go to King K. Rool. Again, King K. Rool. Let's start with the good stuff. He is the pure definition of a tank in Smash Bros. He can tank a lot of hits. So his boxing, if you took away his belly armor, is pretty awful. But he makes up for it because he can just armor through a lot of attacks, and that in itself is good. It's not amazing, but it at least makes boxing with him doable. His zoning is honestly not bad. The crown, it can be really annoying to deal with, especially when he gets in your face, and he has some pretty crazy crown setups. His recovery is, albeit exploitable, if you need to recover horizontally, but vertically it is pretty nice.
Vertically, it's amazing.
Having a hitbox above you is always good. Again, it doesn't stop him from being two-framed, but it at least makes it a lot harder. The problem is that he has I think he has the biggest hitbox or hurtbox in the entire game, which is not good. That is...
Yeah, but a lot of the time, half of his hurt box is invulnerable. So, he makes up for it.
True.
I
Kind of. Still, just being that big is horrible. Like, that's god-awful. The armor makes it doable, but it's just... being that big all the time is just not good, and having to rely on armor, especially when you are still taking damage from the attacks, is just not good. In my opinion, DK has the worst hurt box in the entire game. That's maybe true, honestly, because there's a lot of things that just work on DK. Like, I'm pretty sure DK gets like comboed down throw, so Mewtwo's down throw into jabs. I'm pretty sure true combos DK to like 40-50% for free, which is hilarious. But
I just think that K. Rool is a lot better than characters like Ridley and Robin. Those characters don't work.
well, Robin is going to be next, so let's put let's put Robin here.
Like, Robin is really, really bad, I think.
Again, this is maybe my bias, but Jewel, who's like a top Robin player, who I'm pretty sure is based in Long Island or somewhere in New York. Dude is nasty. He's got some. He's shown some really good stuff with Robin. There's some really good stuff that you can do. The problem it really just stems down to the fact that a lot of your magic can run out. And there are just going to be some times where you really need your arc fire, or you really need your
to up B.
Yeah, you really need your magic to up B, and it's just not there. And while those situations, I want to say, are few enough where it's not a huge problem, it does exist. And so if your question is, why would I use Robin, who may sometimes have a problem with the magic, when I can just use a character who has consistent stuff all the time?
The tilt sword is also just so garbage.
Yeah,
the 11-sided sword is the only thing that's going to do anything.
Yeah, Robin tilts are not good.
But that extends to his other moves once he loses.
Yeah, when he loses 11 sword, Robin is kind of forced to camp, which is fine because Robin plays it's fine-ish. It's doable since Robin plays mostly a defensive gameplay. But yeah, just not having your 11 sword especially off the start when getting neutral for winning the first neutral interaction is pretty important. That's not great. But I think that's actually going to do it for lower mid tier. I'm trying to look at my list, see if there's anything else I want to change.
Really? Well, I think Ridley and Hero need to be in this tier. Maybe Duck Hunt too. I don't know.
I think Hero has more positives than negatives. Because lower mid tier, I said, was basically equal positives and equal negatives, and I think Hero has a little bit more positives than negative.
But he's just so bad. I don't know what positives do you have that are that outweighs negatives.
Okay, let's switch to Hero. So Hero, let's go to positives. His projectiles are actually really good.
Projectiles good, yes.
Projectiles are crazy good. He has the potential to zone out a majority of the cast, which I think is extremely underrated. I think having projectiles just in general is so good. If you look at the bottom half of this cast, bottom tier doesn't have projectile. Little Mac doesn't have projectile. Dr. Mario gets camped out, but he has pills, but he gets camped out usually because he's slow. Kirby doesn't have projectile. Incineroar doesn't have projectile. DDD has a projectile that can get bounced back at you. Having a projectile, a consistent one, is really good.
What about the Belmonts? They are exclusively projectiles.
But if you lose neutral with them once, their disadvantage state is significant enough where it's bad. So,
but Hero has the same issue that Robin has. He's got mana, and that's.
He's got mana, but at least he has some control over it. Also, hold on, why did my music stop? He has some control over his MP, simply because he can, when push comes to shove, ideally a hero will be able to manage that MP pretty well. But in the cases that you actually need time to recharge, at least Hero can deal damage to get some of that MP back. That's important, because if Robin could deal damage to recharge some of the stuff, that would make Robin a lot better, because that makes Robin a lot more consistent.
Sure.
But here,
a lot of Hero's moves take a considerable amount of mana, and his normals are not they are pretty good, but they're so laggy and they're not very easy to hit.
Yeah, so that's where it comes down to Hero kind of relies when he needs to box, he needs to rely on basically good spacing and kind of just conditioning your opponents to either stay in shield or predict when you're going to land. So a lot of Heroes aerials and just pressure on shield relies very similar to DDD, where it's just jump, double jump, and then either fast fall back air, fast fall nair, fast fall fair. And if your opponent can predict that, then yeah, Hero definitely is put into a corner. The RNG is a double-edged sword, obviously, because it's RNG. I do think it helps Hero a little bit more than it hurts him, because you can at least choose what you can have or what you want to select. Obviously, you need to be quick on reading, and that's a completely different skill set that you need to have. But having just a random list of moves that can potentially be very devastating is crazy. Like Accelerate All hero is really good if you know how to control it. Having Oomph and Psych Up, both moves that power you up, are crazy good. Having them both together and having the potential to break an entire full shield is crazy. So,
Sure.
like, that's all good. Let's talk about negatives though. So, hero is slow. We're not going to deny that. Hero's normals are,
Slow.
yeah, they're
Laggy
they're very laggy. They are powerful, but they are slow. And so, like I said, it kind of pigeonholes the hero player into a very just space around and just have to rely on your opponent making the wrong decision.
But the thing is with the projectiles is they are also laggy. So if you miss a projectile, you're getting like something, someone's coming back on you. I just don't I don't see how heroes' positives of having projectiles outweighs having laggy projectiles, laggy normals.
The reason why is I'm going under the assumption that that the hero player knows when to use the projectiles and when to actually box. And I don't think, at least the neutral B, I don't think is something you would want to use up close. That is something you want to use.
No, certainly not.
And I feel like at that range, the range where hero is vulnerable, ideally the opponent should be at the range or theoretically, I want to think the opponent should be at the range where it is at least hard enough to punish hero, where you actually have to make a prediction and read.
But if you are camping out this person and just like using projectiles, you're never going to kill them, really. If you do need to get in there with hero, and so like if you try to follow up, like, I don't know, a neutral B with really anything, like if someone's prepared, they just jump over and hit you. I don't know. I think there's things don't work well. Like things don't lead into heroes. Things don't lead into his other things.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
And I think
that's a problem.
Especially
But
in this game that's so fast and has a lot of hit stun, like if you're not even able to combo anything, I don't see how you can be in the top half of the.
Normally, I would agree, but again, I think that's the mindset of a.
Has more combos.
I think you're thinking of the mindset of like hero as a combo character, which he's not. He's a zoner, and like zoners can play the game where you can just play a solid neutral and just win through a battle of attrition. You don't necessarily need to have like a ton of follow-ups to.
I don't think in the competitive scene that just like playing camp will just win you the game.
Well, sure, and that's why
proven by the non-existence of any snake in the last like several 30 top 8 that were real tournaments, like A tier and higher. I don't see, like, if he's just sitting back and just using projectiles, eventually he runs out of mana and gets thrown off stage and dies. And it's, I don't know. I don't see how he can be. I don't think his positives outweigh the negatives. I think his fun factor outweighs the negatives because he's hella fun to play, but I think he's a bad character. I don't think he's a good character.
Okay, we'll just agree to disagree then.
For sure.
All right, now moving on to actual upper mid tier. That was a long conversation.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So actual bottom of upper mid tier, we have Mii Brawler. Mii Brawler is kind of a budget / poor man's Fox, in my opinion. A lot of his neutral and pressure relies on fast fall nair into either grab, jab, whatever basically you want into imagination. That's all good. He is pretty fast. He's got some pretty good aerials. His problem is that he's just very unamazing. Very similar to Pit and Bowser Jr. and Corrin in that sense, where he doesn't have an absolute broken thing. The soaring axe kick is obviously good, but don't tell me you think Gunner is better. I think Gunner is better. Watch. Brawler, I do think, has a very linear playstyle, and I think that in itself is good in that it is not very difficult to play Brawler at a top level. You obviously need to have good fundamentals and all that stuff, but the skill ceiling I feel like for Brawler is relatively low enough to the point where once you figure out all the tech with Brawler, there's not much more that you have to work with. It's a lot of just, and at that point you are just relying on your ability to read your opponent and punish them for their options. And I think in that sense, Brawler, he's good. Like, I definitely think his positives outweigh the negatives. Like I said, he's fast, got good aerials, got good normals. But other than that, he's just like, there's nothing that is super broken about him. And as you're going to see with the high tiers and the top tiers, to be a high and top tier, you need to have either one or two broken things, or you need to have all around really good stuff. And Brawler is just a level under that, in my opinion. Alright.
Brawler's pretty bad.
Next up, we got Pit and Dark Pit. I was going to put them in lower mid tier, but these buffs are actually good, or were pretty significant, to the point where I think they can potentially be relevant.
Yeah, I don't think they're mid tiers. Those characters are high tier, I think.
Oh, Pit and Dark Pit?
Yeah. They got good stuff, man. Just no one plays them, because why would you play them?
So,
No,
for all of the time that I played this game and like just thought of Pit and Dark Pit, the whole thing was that I said, or my thoughts about them was that they are really good for beginners because I think they do a fantastic job at teaching the game. But in terms of competitive, they just do not. They're very average. Like, they don't have anything that's super broken. And now with these buffs, a lot of those moves that were very underwhelming got buffed to the point where I think they are at least good. Like that up air buff, I think is crazy good. That's probably the closest move he has to broken. That up air is really good now. That is a kill move. I'm pretty sure drag down up air can combo into like an up tilt or an up smash or something of that sort. So that's all good.
I've definitely been messing around with the pits since this patch, and they definitely feel a lot better than previous.
Yeah, like they got some really good stuff.
They're definitely good characters.
But yeah, again, the weaknesses, they don't necessarily, I think, have one glaring flaw other than that they are just very
mediocre.
Average. Like most of their stuff is very average. They are pretty on the ground in terms of speed. They're pretty in the air. I actually think they might be slightly below average for air mobility, but they got some like all around good stuff. Just nothing that's amazing. So moving on, we got Bayonetta, and I actually don't know if I want to keep Bayonetta this low. I feel like Bayonetta, given time, can have potential to be the top of upper mid tier or even high tier. The SDI stuff to all of her moves is pretty big, because that means she now has a lot more kill potential. Because before with Bayonetta, obviously if you didn't know how to SDI against this character, you were going to get rocked. But a lot of the time, if you just, before this patch, you can just SDI down and away, or down and diagonal, like, and you were fine. And she couldn't get nearly as much damage off. Like, her whole problem back in 7.0 was that she combos you to like 80% and even higher, but at that point you didn't really care because she can't kill other than like a raw back air. And that for her was a problem. But now she has enough buffs, and I think the SDI multipliers is significant enough where she can not only do a lot of damage but also have potential to kill. I'm not saying her kill potential is like amazing. It like didn't jump from like non-existent to like amazing. I'm saying it's now there, and that is good, especially for a combo-based character. Jeez.
I just don't see, like, something I've just noticed is I don't see how these characters are worse than Zelda. But I do think that, I don't know, Bayonetta doesn't work in this game very well. Maybe these SDI buffs will change things, but I feel like even seeing Bayonetta's play against Garbo people who don't know how to SDI, like, they still just get, like, it still just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing it's almost like none of her moves don't send people up enough, which is absurd because that's all she does. But that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
But yeah, character like Zelda. Like, where do you have Zelda on this list?
She's coming. Don't worry.
What I don't think that the Pits or Bayonetta are worse than Zelda.
I think they are worse than Zelda. Another character that's worse than Zelda is Puff. So,
that I can get behind.
Puff is the pure definition. Like, the matchup is going to be as hard or as easy depending on how patient you are. If you are patient, then the matchup becomes a lot more doable for a lot of characters. Obviously, there are just some characters who will get absolutely walled out by Puff. And, like, that in itself sucks. But then you have other characters that can camp her out. But she's a character of extremes, I think. If she can get in and just float all over people's faces and all over people's shields, matchup becomes really good. And that is a significant portion of the cast. If she gets walled out, then that's a problem because she doesn't have a projectile. Her only real way to approach is through the air because she is incredibly slow on the ground. I think the only notable ground moves she has are dash attack and jabs.
Up tilt is good.
Like up tilt's
Range,
sure. So, like ground basically doesn't exist for her. You're basically reliant on the air, and that's good. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else I could say about her.
I do have to dip because I gotta do work things. But,
sounds good.
I'll catch you later.
See ya. So back to just me soloing this thing. Anyways, who else do we have? We got Ice Clammers. So Ices, if this was talking about complete no human error at all, I would put Ices automatically up here. But playing at that high of a level every single time and throughout the entire game, I think is unreasonable. At a human level, I think Ices is around here. Again, has crazy potential. There are some matchups that just Ices absolutely dominates. But then there are matchups like Bayonetta, for instance, can separate them really easily. I'm pretty sure Game & Watch is an instant loss for them as well. They just have so many. They have a significant number of matchups that are difficult enough where it is borderline unplayable. It is 7-3-8-2 status. And Ices are just missing someone in the pro team to represent them well. Big D, I mean, is amazing. He is so good. He is PR'd with this character. He's PGR'd. That's really good. But it's just the skill ceiling for this character is so high to a point where I don't even know if it's necessarily attainable, at least currently right now. And I don't even know if it's something that's attainable when played against another person. And I think that lies the problem. I'm not saying that they're bad. They clearly have some crazy stuff. They got good projectiles to zone people out. They got that down B that icicles into basically, that combos into basically anything you want. Desyncing is crazy good. But there are just some matchups that just are borderline undoable. And that's unfortunate. Okay, oh wait, Ices should be right here. I think Hero is better than the Ices. We got Piranha Plant. Where's Piranha Plant? So, Piranha Plant buffs, pretty good. That forward air I think is the biggest buff out of them all. Patsui obviously is really good. And I don't know, just for the memes, I guess. No, not really. But Plant, you just do not want to be above Plant. That's just plain and simple. If you're above Plant, you are going to get rocked and eat a ton of damage. I do think having Plant, I do think, other than that, Plant kind of struggles. As like to me, this how difficult it is to fight against Plant is just stems on, do you know the matchup? Do you know when to go in? Do you know when to camp him out? Do you know when to reflect his thing? And if you know all that stuff, then I think the matchup becomes a lot easier. Like, obviously, but like other than that, there's not really much that like Plant can do, I think, to really put him any higher than upper mid tier. He's still got some really good stuff, like I said. Shield pressure is crazy good. Like I said, Pichu is amazing. So yeah, pretty good character. Also, really cool joke character. Okay, next up, Hero was supposed to be put here, but we kind of skipped ahead a little bit. Now we have Meat Gunner, and I actually need to go to the bathroom, so I will go cover Meat Gunner real quick and then go to the bathroom. So Meat Gunner, let's talk about the positives. The specials, no matter what kind of specials you use, are all pretty good. The only thing I would say is like that Fox Laser is not great. That's the only like special I would say is like just genuinely awful, but everything else I think is pretty good. Meat Gunner is one of the most annoying characters to play because their game plan literally centers around just zoning people out. They are kind of slow, but with how many tools, how many, what's it called, like projectiles that they have to zone, it actually makes it becomes a pretty problematic matchup for some characters to get in. Like, if you don't have a way to deal with projectiles, if you don't have a reflector, this matchup becomes pretty difficult. Like, I'm not even gonna front. I've been playing a lot of Banjo recently, who is also a zoner, and I ran into a Meat Gunner, and I swear I don't know who this was, but because it was on Elite Smash, but it went to the time. We were both at like 160%. I could not get in. And so I was basically pigeonholed into just like throwing grenades. We are basically just playing dodgeball with each other. And that in itself is a really powerful strategy. It's not necessarily as fun, which is an issue. But if we're talking about just pure competitive nature, like that's a viable strategy. And that is a really, like, from that front, Meat Gunner is really good. The problem with her, like the glaring flaws, obviously if she was faster that would be nice, but a lot of the, what am I saying? I lost my train of thought. Air mobility and ground mobility are both could be better, and I think that's the main thing that kind of separates her from, or kind of keeps her down here when she could be high tier. But overall, really good character. Like, I think this character can be really, really good in the right hands. Okay, and with that, I'm stumbling over my words, and that's kind of because I need to pee. So I will be back, and also need to get some water. So hang tight for just a second. And we're back. Where were we? I just talked about Meat Gunner. So, where does that leave us? Actually, hold on. I can't talk anymore. I was gonna say, let me read some of the chat. So, what are people saying? Little Mac forever. Honestly, fullest respect to Little Mac players. You are a rare breed, and y'all have the heart of champions. Okay. Let's keep going. Let me actually move this over here. Did I rate Ganon below Little Mac? Yes, I did. Hard disagree. I can't please anybody. Anyways, let's keep going. Let's go on to Ridley. I don't know why I put Ridley this high. For whatever reason, I originally wanted to put Ridley like down here, but there's just something about this character that I think is good. I just cannot put my hand on it. This is where I think my inexperience with Ridley kind of shines through. Like, I honestly don't really know what to say about this character. I think Ridley has really good aerials. He has some of the best tilts in the game. A side B as a command grab is always good. He's got a lot of good stuff. On an offensive level, offensive standpoint, he is very good. He's got kill confirms. That's all great. And it's actually very similar to Mewtwo, where his weakness, I think, stems from the fact that he's so heavy. And that, unfortunately, not so heavy. He is not heavy nearly enough to compensate for his size. The large hurt box is what I was touching upon. That is a problem. They did make some changes in previous patches where, like, I think the wings were invincible coming out of shield, and that's good, but it just doesn't it's not enough to compensate for how large Ridley is, and lanky too. Like, he takes up so much of the screen. Like, at least K-Roll and DK, I think, are like pretty compact. Even though they are big bodies, they are pretty compact in their as hurt boxes. But Ridley just goes all over the place. It's very similar to Mewtwo. So, yeah, like, really good offensive game. Ridley is very similar, I think, to kind of like a front runner character, where if he gets a lead on you, he has potential to just steamroll anybody. But as soon as he's put in disadvantage, then it becomes a really big problem and it's a struggle to get out. Anyways, moving on. We got Terry. So, I also am not entirely sure where to put this character. I know Riddles is a god. I just need to mute him on Twitter. But, like, jokes aside, Terry's really good. Really good combo game. He is decent. He is not the fastest character, but he's fast enough where he can really make full use of his kit. Having a back special and a forward special, I think, is really good. It's a unique thing, but it's also, there are just so many situations where it's like you could actually choose which one you want to use, and that's really good. He has no problem kill confirming. He has a very easy bread and butter combos that do a lot of damage. Like that jab, the 3 jabs into what's called power dunk. Stuff I think does like what 34 damage, and that's easy. Like, that's really good. Problem, kind of just, again, disadvantage state isn't great. He has, like, just off stage, he is very easy to edge guard. He's, I want to say, very comparable to Little Mac in that sense, where he can kind of brute force his way back to the stage, just a little bit easier. But off stage, he's still really bad. He doesn't have an amazing way to sweet spot the edge. He does have ways to get around it, since if you up B correctly, some of his hurt boxes invincible or intangible or whatever. So that's good. But it mainly just comes down to, again, how well you are able to kind of stay on stage and keep your opponent in advantage, or not in advantage, in disadvantage. If you lose neutral constantly, then this character is going to be a yikes. But yeah, that's what I would say. Okay. Moving on, we got Byleth, and I still don't really know what to think of this character, just from my experience. this is kind of where I would... Not kind of, this is where I would put him. Byleth has really good range, really good kill potential. Forward smash at the ledge is real good. Teach me how to beat Esam. Hope that he goes random. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. The problem is that she's just so slow. Like, Byleth is so slow. And I actually think it's remarkable how high I ranked her with how slow she is. Because every other character that is like this slow is going to be, you know, is going to be lower than her. I mean, like, just for example, we got Corrin, who's slow. We got Sword Fighter, who's slow. We got the Belmonts, who are slow, both on the ground and in the air. DDD is slow, Incineroar is slow, Kirby's slow, Doc is slow, Mac is fast, but he has other problems, and then Ganondorf is slow. Like, all the characters that are slow in this game are pretty bad. But I don't know. I feel like her range really makes up for it, to the point where she can actually, her kit allows her to be that slow and like not be at a huge disadvantage. Byleth best Fire Emblem. Do you not see the rest of the characters I have in this list? There's a lot of Fire Emblem to get through. Her aerial mobility does suck, and her vertical, like her jumps really suck. That in itself is a huge negative. But overall, really good character. Like, I like her a lot. Okay, moving on, we got the Shotos, and these guys probably should be higher, but I don't know. Maybe I've just been fighting bad Shotos. So, Ken and Ryu. I do think Ken is a little bit better than Ryu, but they are basically interchangeable. Really good combo game. They got confirms. They got all that good stuff. Again, very similar to Terry, where the weaknesses the weaknesses stem from being off stage is a problem for them. Being just in disadvantage is just, again, really bad. At least with Ryu and Ken, they have focus attack, so it at least offers some movement and landing mix-ups. Whereas Terry is kind of forced to rely on fastball air dodge. So that's all good. But overall, pretty good characters. I like them. Very similar to how I feel about Byleth. Like, all these characters I really like. I think they all serve a place in this game. They all have like very unique playstyles. Okay, moving on. We got Banjo and Kazooie. So, Banjo, again, starting with good things. Really good zoner. I think Banjo really exemplifies what it means to be a good zoner and to kind of how to like play that playstyle. They can wall you out very well and can have the ability to transition from defense to aggression. That is really good. Their problem again stems from a pretty bad disadvantage state, and mainly like the main problem with them is that they just don't have a lot of great boxing tools. If they get stuck in shield, they really can't do much about it. Your best options out of shield, I'm pretty sure, are like up smash out of shield, neutral air, back air for cross ups, and a shield grab. They really do not have great out of shield options, and that's a problem. So any character that just rushes them down. Hold on, what is this? Oh, this is Fire Emblem. Oh, cool. Actually, I don't want to listen to this. Let's listen to something else. Let's listen to this one. Yeah, there we go. But what was I saying? Yeah, no. Lack of out of shield options is definitely problematic. Lack of really solid boxing tools is also a problem. Wonder Wing, I think, is very overrated. I have a buddy of mine who actually says that Wonder Wing is like a bottom 5 side special in the game, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it's definitely far from amazing. It's like a frame 18, I'm pretty sure, move that has a ton of end lag. I'm pretty sure it lasts the whole entirety of Wonder Wing, lasts like 54 frames, which is not good, and there's a lot of end lag to it, so you can easily punish. And yeah, so basically how good Banjo is will stem from how good you are at just boxing people out. Not boxing people out, at walling people out with projectiles. And then finding that time, finding that opening to go in, and just covering their options. But yeah. I really think Zelda is better than these characters. Yeah, I agree. That's why I haven't put her here yet. Let's see, Diddy Kong, I think I want to put here, but I'm still not sure. You know what, I'm going to save Diddy Kong actually, because Diddy Kong did lose that infinite, but there was another infinite that was discovered. And that stuff looks good. Like, it looks really good. But I still think he is upper mid tier. He's just somewhere in here. I don't think he is high tier. He still has some problems, but it's cool. New Infinite is easier than the old one. Yeah, I think, like, I'm pretty sure all you need to do is, like, I forget the exact inputs, but it involves some kind of Phantom Footstool, which is relatively easy to get. So, with Diddy out of the way, what are we doing? We have Lucas. So, Lucas, my boy, that man is crazy, shows a lot of potential with this character. Movement is insane. Has pretty good kill power, kill potential. Combos are pretty solid. Main problem, very similar to Ness, is that he just loses the sorties, and unfortunately that is a portion of the meta that is significant enough to not ignore. So that's what I would say. There's nothing necessarily super wrong about the character, which is what makes it weird to, I guess, put him this low. But he just loses the sorties, and I think that's a pretty big problem. Explain the infinite. Do not explain the infinite in chat, because that is gonna take an entire essay. So, now we have Marth. Marth might be a little high for some people. I personally don't think Marth is that bad. But Marth is pretty good. I think the tipper buffs are pretty solid. They definitely made it a lot easier to actually hit them and for them to connect. So that's all really good. Like, honestly, he just plays like a worse Lucina. I shouldn't say like, because they do have like relatively different playstyles, but overall, like, stuff like ledge trapping is very similar, just with certain trade-offs. If you could space, obviously Marth is very, very good, but sometimes spacing is not going to be in the cards for some situations. So overall, good character. He teaches fundamentals pretty well, but like at top level, I think it's hard to argue him being any higher than upper mid tier. Marth is better than Lucina. Changed my mind. I don't know if I'm going to. We'll just agree to disagree. See, I was actually under the belief when Ultimate first came out that Marth was going to be better than Lucina, and the only reason that Lucina was higher was because we still were figuring out how the game works. But as the game has gone on, I've just accepted the fact that Lucina is better, and I am fully more than happy to just eat my words. Okay. Next up, we got Villager. So, I don't want to say he's just better Isabelle, but like, kind of. I think he has a lot better zoning tools. Having that Lloyd rocket that goes horizontal is so much better than the Lloyd rocket that goes vertical. Having horizontal coverage is so much better than vertical. So that's all good. Slingshots are obviously very hard to deal with. I shouldn't say hard, but you definitely need to be on your toes for it. Let's see, neutral air is not bad by any means. Uh-oh, what happened to my stream? Alright, hold on one second. My computer that I'm reading chat on just crapped out, so... Okay, there we go. Now we're back. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, Villager, he's got some good stuff. Zoning wise, he is very, very good. I do think he kind of falls under the weakness of being very susceptible to people who just play patient, and that in itself is problematic. Like, he always will have a way. You will always have a way to get in on Villager. It's just the problem is waiting it out and finding that opening, which is cool. But yeah, Villager, honestly, very good zoner. I don't really have much to say about him. I don't have a ton of experience fighting him, so he honestly could be, you know, a lot lower or a lot higher. But this is just from my experience. This is why it is important to not take all tier lists to heart. Anyways, we finally have Zelda, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna put Diddy Kong, like, probably around, like, probably here. I think Zelda is a little better than Diddy, but that could just be biases of playing so many Zeldas online. So obviously, Zelda Online, really good. No one's gonna dispute that. Zoning tools, she has a lot of good stuff. The Din's Fire is pretty nice for edge guarding. You do need to kind of predict because it does go fast enough where you cannot. There's very limited time for adjustment of it. The Knight is very good. It covers a ton of ground and does a lot of shield pressure, and so that actually forces a lot of people into shield or to reflect it, and from there Zelda can actually find a way to get in. Her problem is kind of, it sounds weird, but like if you have faster projectiles that, like I said, just come out faster or have a way to get in, she definitely struggles. Her boxing tools are quite underwhelming. She has that neutral B, Neru's Love, I think, where she is invincible and can reflect projectiles, but if you just wait it out and you predict it, it's very easily punished. And trying to think what else to say about the character, because I do have a lot of experience fighting Zelda, because one of my good buddies plays Zelda, so I do have a lot of experience playing against him and playing against the character. I don't know, it's just she feels like so close to being up here, but it is just either slow enough or her moves. Yeah, I would say just like she's just a tad too slow in terms of like how fast moves come out. Not necessarily Neru's Love, but the Knight I don't think charges. I think charges slow enough where it is actually possible to get in. Why isn't Bowser Jr. top tier? Because this isn't a memes tier list. Good Zelda mains don't spam their specials on Wi-Fi. Yeah, and that's why they're good. Like if you just mindlessly spam projectiles as Zelda, like it's not gonna be great. And those are the Zeldas who are gonna get rocked. So that's what I would say. Do I think Zelda's this high offline? Yeah, I would say so. Ven is extremely good. I do think she loses to a majority of the high tiers and top tiers, which is what makes her... Actually, you know what? That's a good point. Why did I put Zelda above the Shotos? Do I want to change it, though? Well, It's either I move the Shotos up or I move Zelda down. Or I do both. Oh god, where did Ken go? Screw it, we'll leave it like this for now. We'll do some rearranging later. But yeah, we'll do some stuff after we get everybody down. Booth, Shotos, and Marth high tier? Absolutely not. No. Okay, moving on. Who do we have? We got the new character, Min Min. So, I'm going to preface this right now. I have not played a ton of Min Min. I did that ladder grind, but that was against bad players. So I don't have a ton of experience, but from what I've seen with the amount of labbing and kind of just theory crafting that people have been able to do, Min seems pretty good. She seems like a character who will do well in a lot of matchups, but also do very poorly in a lot of matchups. It doesn't seem like there's very in between for this character. Like, if you can get in on Min, then she will struggle, and that's a problem. If she can wall you out, then you are going to get rocked. Like, that's not even a debate. So it's just a matter of whether your character can get in on her. And if you can, then it's going to be a pretty easy matchup. But if you can't, I don't know what to tell you other than try not to get 3-stocked. So I'm not sure. These are just my initial thoughts. Do not be biased with Mewtwo. That's like telling me to not breathe oxygen. Like, what do you want me to say? This whole tier list is biased, man. So Min can be anywhere from like down here to like high tier. I know I forget who, but someone put Min in like high tier or top tier. I think it was Esam maybe. And a lot of people were like saying that he's crazy, but I don't know if he's like he might have some points. I didn't watch his tier list video, but like Min does have some good stuff. Like, she does have some really, really good stuff. The question is whether that good stuff, that broken stuff, outweighs her inherent struggles, which is boxing up close. So that's my take on it. Next up, we have... Hold on, how long have I been streaming? Hour and a half when we're like halfway through. That's fine. Where is he? We got Ness. So Ness, I do think is better than Lucas by a relatively significant amount. I think his pressure is a lot better than Lucas's. Let's not compare. Let's not compare the two. Just Ness in general. PK Fire, obviously very good. Not broken compared to a lot of people. A lot of people's opinions. But really good stuff. Again, loses to swordies, and that's the main thing that is keeping him down here at mid-tier, upper mid-tier. I think you need to have a solid game plan against sword characters, and if you don't, I don't see a way you can be anywhere you can be higher than this. Side magnet stuff is crazy good. Like, that's all fine and dandy. His shield pressure just overall is really good. Edge guarding, obviously yo-yo is crazy. But struggles, again, just lack of range, which again comes down to struggling against disjoints and swords. So that's what I would say about him. Again, not saying he's bad. Like, he is definitely not bad. Like, Austin, Best Ness, crazy good players. But I think there is a limit to how good they can be, or how viable Ness can be, when you have so many sword characters that are running rapid in this meta. Next up, we got Toon Link. This might be a little bit of a surprise. He probably maybe should be lower than this, but yeah, I don't know. He just has I think he has really good buttons. He has relatively good boxing tools. I don't want to say he has like amazing disjoints because he doesn't, but he can wall people out very well projectiles. I do think he's the worst of the Links, but he just overall, like, just because you're the worst of like the Links, I do think their overall game plan is still to fill out the stage with projectiles, and Toon Link does that very, very well. Bombs can be incredibly hard to deal with. Boomerang, always having a constant hitbox, is really good. The arrows, not necessarily as good as the other two, but they are still good enough where you have to respect them. And just overall air mobility, like, that's the main thing that kind of drives people to play Toon Link over the other Links, is that you just can move. Like, this character, if you have good movement, can just schmoove over everybody, and that in itself is really good and something you need to respect. So Moving on, we got Wii Fit Trainer. Wii Fit, I think, got significantly buffed this patch. Her stuff being a lot faster and having less landing lag, that's really good. She still has a relatively safe and straightforward game plan where you kind of want to play at the ledge with and just spam the volleyball, soccer ball, whatever it is, and the sun salutation. That's all good, but now she has legitimate boxing tools. She has a good up smash now. She has a pretty good down smash now. She has a combo, I'm pretty sure a kill confirm if you have deep breathing, from like back hit of forward air into a forward smash. That's a true kill confirm now. That's crazy. And that was like from day one labbing. So that's all really good. Obviously she still has some struggles. I don't think her landing options are necessarily great. She does have the volleyball, which is good. Not having disjoints obviously isn't great, but overall Wii Fit, very good character. I definitely approve of it. And honestly, with how much labbing that people have done, Wii Fit has potential to be high tier. Like, I'm not even like fronting or joking. Wii Fit definitely got some really good stuff this patch and has potential to become really competitively viable at the top level. So, moving on, we got Yoshi. Yoshi could be higher. There is like a stigma with Yoshi players that y'all always like are trying to convince people that your character is, you know, up here or up here. I think Yoshi has potential to be high tier, but I think for now is a pretty solid mid tier. One of the hardest characters to combo. Having super armor on your jump is really good. Having a neutral air as a combo breaker is really good. Oh, excuse me, I am losing my voice. I mean, what else is there? Forward air is pretty good. F-tilt comboing as a combo starter, really good. Yoshi's got some really good stuff. Disadvantage is pretty manageable. All things considered, like with the armor, assuming that you have your double jump, obviously. I do think people may tend to rate Yoshi a little higher if they don't know the matchup, because like you need to Yoshi requires a pretty unique kind of playstyle and counterplay, where she kind of, well, first of all, Yoshi loses to disjoints. That's like first and foremost. And also, if you can bait out a lot of the landing stuff, like landing nair, landing fair, matchup becomes a lot more doable. If you could bait those stuff out and pick up on your opponent's options, on the Yoshi's options, it becomes a much easier matchup. But yeah, that's what I would say. I think without the double jump, or if Yoshi is forced to burn the double jump, very easy to edge guard. But again, that's assuming that the Yoshi burns the double jump. If the Yoshi knows how to recover and tries to recover with eggs first and then into double jump, it definitely becomes a lot harder. Next up, we got another buffed boy. We got Falco. Falco, I also think, was one of the major winners of this patch. If you were to ask me earlier, Falco would easily be like somewhere down here. Crazy people could even like argue right here, but Falco got some really good stuff. He went from up tilt the character to up tilt and down tilt the character, or not down tilt. Yeah, I guess down tilt and down air. He now has a lot of really, really good stuff. He is a character that combos you to 80 and he kills you at 80. And he has like some really solid confirms out of not only dare, down tilt, and up tilt, but also I'm pretty sure doesn't he have like confirms off of side B now, grounded side B. And also side B is faster. That's another big thing. It is fast enough to the point where you cannot react to him throwing it out. You need to predict it now. And that is really good. That makes it so that he can he can use it when you are not expecting it. It's very similar to Banjo, where it is an option check. It is to make sure that you are keeping your opponent on their toes, and if they are not and they don't expect it, you just get a confirm. Okay, moving on. We got Pichu. Pichu is really good. I think this character, I don't even want to say discount Pikachu because they do play pretty differently. Pikachu has the ability to camp a lot more, but Pichu doesn't really as much, simply because you do take damage, self-damage, and that will rack up. But overall, really good aggressive and passive character. Can play virtually any playstyle, and has a lot of just flexibility with what you can do. Combo game is crazy good, but the problem just stems from the fact that Pichu is just so light. She dies way too early. It's like it's to the point where, because it's not even she's that much smaller than Pikachu. I'm pretty sure, like, if you put them side by side, they are pretty similar in size, and Pichu is just so squishy to the point where, like, as a Mewtwo main, a lot of people say the rats are like some of the hardest characters to fight. I think Mewtwo wins this matchup. I just think a lot of Mewtwo mains are bad at it. For XM, I am going to remove you from this Discord if you keep on asking for a face reveal. But, like, Mewtwo, the fact that Mewtwo can, like, kill Pichu at, like, 100 with an up throw or a back throw. Pichu is bigger than Pika now? Thank you, Baselarth. That is stupid. That is so dumb. So basically you have a character that is the lightest in the game, who gets, I'm pretty sure is a faster faller than Pikachu, so it gets comboed easier, does damage to itself. So, like, where's the... I don't see how that makes sense. Because Pichu just kind of gets bodied by anybody who just, like, is able to trade, first of all. And second of all, a lot of the pressure, if you hold shield, and because her grab range is pretty trash, like, it definitely can be a struggle in some matchups. Like I said, I think Mewtwo wins this matchup pretty handily. Not saying it's easy by any means, because I know a lot of Mewtwo mains still complain about this matchup. But if you know what you're doing and you play patient, it is definitely a struggle for Pichu. So, oh, I should also mention before I go on to the next character, Falco, since the buffs are new, can be anywhere from, like, high tier. I know some top players were saying that Falco is now probably high tier. That could be true. We just haven't seen enough yet. This is an offline tier list because I think it's much easier to predict and to judge characters based on offline, where everything is consistent, rather than online. So, moving on, we got Duck Hunt. I don't really have any reason to put Duck Hunt any higher or any lower, but Raido is still an absolute god. I do not see this character at all. This is probably the character I see the least. I see all these other characters, but Duck Hunt is one I just never see. But overall, he's really good. Like, if you watch some Raido, the stuff that Duck Hunt can do is extremely good. His projectiles can be crazy oppressive, to the point where if you don't have a game plan, if you cannot reflect them, if you don't have a way to just get around them, you are going to get walled out. Like, it's crazy good. Which is insane, because I'm saying, like, Pichu, Falco, Yoshi, all these characters I'm saying are, like, crazy good, yet I don't even put them in high tier. I think all these characters are just, there's so many good characters in this game, which is part of why I think this is one of, if not the best Smash game, just period. But that's for a different story. Finally, we have Bowser. Bowser is really good. I do think he has fallen off. Leon has still been doing pretty well, obviously, before COVID happened. but Bowser seems like a very polarizing character, because theoretically, if someone can just not get hit by him, he obviously is one of the biggest characters in the game, gets comboed like crazy. Like, that's all good. But the thing is, he is going to find a way to get in. Bowser will always find a way to get in. He is fast enough, both on the ground and in the air, where the Bowser player will always find a way to make it work. He has up B out of shield, which is fantastic. It means a lot of the stuff that you can normally land safely is kind of dicey now. It definitely means you need to space a lot more. Like, if you as a Mewtwo main, forward air is safe on shield normally if you space it well. Not against the Bowser. I'm pretty sure the Bowser is able to up B out of shield and punish Mewtwo for landing a forward air on shield, unless you absolutely max space it. So Bowser, kill potential, crazy good. He racks up damage extremely well. Side B, Flying Slam, one of the best command grabs in the entire game. Has potential to trade stocks with it. He is so good. His one problem, again, is landing, but that's the problem with a lot of other heavies. I think he is by far and away the best super heavy in this game, like, for sure. Like, I don't even know who's the next super heavy. Is it Ridley? Because if it is, no, I'm not even going to count Ridley, because Ridley is the same weight as Samus, and that doesn't make sense. Like, King K. Rool is the next super heavy. Like, that's dumb. Like, there's no comparison. Okay, moving on, we got my boy Luigi. So, regardless of whether you think Luigi is poorly designed, or whether you hate the zero to death, or whether you think it's OP or whatever, I think Luigi is in a pretty good spot competitively. Whether it's fun to fight against or not is up for your own opinion. But from a competitive standpoint, he's a very polarizing character. Like I said, he is a character of extremes. Some qualities of him are so incredibly weak, like his ability to recover and being edge guarded, that you wonder why Sakurai put this into the game. And some of his qualities are so overpowered, like his zero to death and his just overall throw game, that you just question Sakurai if he was in the right state of mind when he was making this character. He just has so much potential to just explode on people. And that in itself is so good. That is so crazy. At the same time, if you win neutral and he is put in disadvantage, it is such a struggle to get back, to the point where you have to start relying on, double jump in fair and then into like maybe Cyclone, but even then you can just out of shield punish the fair. I don't know why my nose is so itchy. This is really annoying me. Ugh. So yeah, his landing options disadvantage overall is just a real struggle for him. But if he can maintain neutral, which unfortunately is also a struggle because his neutral game is not great, it basically just centers around fishing for grabs and maybe fireballs into grabs. If he can maintain that, then he is a very good character. But the problem is maintaining that, because it's hard to maintain a good neutral when you don't have amazing neutral tools to begin with. Okay. Moving on, we got Sheik. Shout out to my boy Frenzy Light. I think Sheik has potential to be high tier. I know a lot of people were saying, I'm pretty sure I actually put Sheik in high tier in my 7.0 tier list. I've had a little bit of a reconsideration for this, as you normally do the more you play the game. Sheik has theoretically so many good tools. Really good frame data, good air mobility, good recovery. What else am I saying? I lost my train of thought. I'm gonna take this time, take a sip of water. And all that stuff's good. That freaking, what's it called? The raindrop combo that Void showed. That stuff's insane. Even the stuff that Frenzy Light has been showing. like theory crafting wise, Sheik is crazy. That dash walk is so good. Sheik has potential, so much potential to be like up here. I do think Sheik has a very high skill ceiling, and so right now, as it stands, I think Sheik is right here. Though as the game like gets better, or not gets better, as the game gets older and the Sheik players really start to hone their craft, I can see Sheik being high tier, and dare I say even top tier. Like, I'm not even gonna front, because Sheik is so fast, has so many good stuff. The only problem is that a lot of people do still struggle to keep people in disadvantage, and if you can keep people in disadvantage as Sheik, the matchups become so good, because she has potential to do it. So that's what I would say. Sheik, really good character. And to round out Mewtwo, or not upper mid tier, round out upper mid tier, we have Mewtwo. So let me just preface by saying this: I'm a Mewtwo player. It's gonna be natural that I have biases. Let me actually change this camera. I have a lot of experience with this character. That is a double-edged sword, though. That means I like to think that I know a lot about the character, but it also means I might have some opinions that are not necessarily true, or not necessarily as valid or sound as other people might think. Because I'm pretty sure if you look at other people's tier lists, Mewtwo should be down here. Like, somewhere around here. I personally don't think so. I think Mewtwo is a very good character. I think he should be right here. I'm not saying that he is perfect. He definitely struggles. He definitely struggles with certain matchups, and he has certain flaws that are significant enough that keep him, I think, from high tier. But from a competitive standpoint, I do think a Mewtwo player will be able to hold their own. He has a crazy combo game. People who say that Mewtwo doesn't have combos and has a bad combo game, I think, are clowns. He has crazy combo and mix-up potential. He has really good range on a lot of his attacks, albeit some of his attacks do involve his tail, and that can be problematic if you are trying to edgeguard somebody. You might end up trading instead. But offensively, Mewtwo is so good. Combos for days, kill confirms. That Shadow Ball buff is crazy good. It means you can now Shadow Ball camp a lot easier. Not saying you should do it all the time, because it does have counterplay, but Mewtwo has one of the best projectiles in the game in Shadow Ball. Has option coverage, and just to check people's options with disable, make sure that people are on their toes. You got confusion, which kill confirms into forward air. That's super good at high percent. And hold on, I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening to me. My nose is just super itchy. I'm gonna go fix that after this. But the problem, again, just comes down to his disadvantage. He is light, obviously. We're like, being light and having a big hurt box, that is problematic. Like, not just for Mewtwo. Being light and being a big body is going to be a problem, and it's something you cannot just disregard as Mewtwo, because that's, like I said, it's something that keeps him, I think, from being great. I think he is really good, but it's something that keeps Mewtwo from being up here. Oh, whoops, that is the wrong thing. Up here. So that's what I would say. Oh wait, put him back down here. I do think we are still figuring stuff out with them. He did actually get a new Zero to Death, which is now a true combo, which I think is crazy funny. But yeah, that's what I would say. I think that's a pretty good explanation for what I think of Mewtwo. So excuse me for 1 second, because my nose is itching like crazy, so I'm going to go punch it a lot. I don't know, I gotta figure something out. I'll be right back. Okay. So I'm back. Let me read some chat. Rob Nair is broken? No, it's not any more broken than Ike's. Rob is a well-designed character. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think there's any poorly designed... Actually, I take that back. I do think there are some characters in this game that could have been designed better, like Little Mac. But that's something for a different story, or for a different day. How do you do the 0 to death? Just check Twitter. I might make another video on it. I don't know. I'm still deciding whether I want to make another combos video with Mewtwo, because he did get some new things technically, but I don't know if it's enough where it warrants a new video. Like, I would just check Twitter, because I think if I were to make another combos video, it would need to be would have needed to be a significant change, which I don't think there was. Okay, we are almost done, guys. So let's move on to the high tier. Starting off, we got the man of the people. We got Captain Falcon. I can't believe I'm saying this. From what I've seen, again, this is all theory crafting. We have not gotten any offline results because, obviously, COVID. But from what I've seen from Fatality and from what other top players are saying, Falcon is really, really good. The only reason why I'm putting him at the bottom of high tier is because I just don't know how good. I think a lot of people, we as a community, were kind of guessing his playstyle incorrectly. I think we as a community wanted Captain Falcon to be a rushdown character because that's how he has been for a lot of the other Smash games. But in this game, and from the patch notes, it seems like they want to turn Falcon into just a pure brawler. And with that, it's not necessarily a change for good or bad, but he just became so much better as a brawler. And I think having a side B that combos at virtually any percent is super, super good. That is so valuable. I don't know, my nose is still itching, but Falcon is crazy, crazy good. He still has faults. That dash back animation is still problematic. It basically makes him have Mewtwo's dash back animation, but for no good reason. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like the turnaround I think is the main flaw with him. Obviously, he doesn't have any disjoints, which would make him a lot better, but that's what I would say. He is really, really good. This is where I would guesstimate he's going to be. Again, the only reason why I put him at high tier, or at bottom of high tier, is because I just don't know where he's going to be. He could be anywhere from... Get out of here, what are you doing? Well, get to Mario later. Okay. Yeah, like I said, Falcon Kit can be anywhere from like bottom of high tier to like potentially mid to the top of high tier. So I think that's really good. Okay, next up we have Young Link. Actually no, I take that back. What am I saying? I think we have regular Link first. Link, again, just covers so much space so well with only being in one spot. His projectiles, I think, are extremely good. He has one of the best neutral airs in the game. Being able to increase your fall speed by like 90% as opposed to like the normal 67 or whatever is crazy good. Neutral air can be incredibly hard to deal with. Obviously, it does have counterplay, but overall, Link just has a lot of really, really good tools. He does struggle if he cannot get his projectiles out in time, and so I would guess that would mean rushdown. But even then, he has some he has like decent enough boxing tools where I think he'll be fine. He doesn't get trapped in his shield that often, which is good. And overall, just very good character. Next up, we have Ike. I used to think Ike was very, very overrated. Why did my music stop also? Oh no. This is why we're not gonna monetize this video, because we have ads like this. Anyways, what was I saying? I do think Ike was heavily overrated at the start of this game. I just think MKLeo is crazy good. And now that I think that Ike hype train has gone down, and obviously Ike's Nair got nerfed this patch, but everything else about him got better. His forward air got better. Up B got so good. It is crazy how good that move is now. Like, killing somebody at like 60 or 70 from the edge of a stage is stupid. That's so strong. And the fact that you can combo into it now from a neutral air, it's so good. So good. Obviously, he kind of struggles to... He just straight up loses to parry system. I'm not going to deny that. That is... And as people get better at the game, that is something that we do need to take into consideration. Anybody that just straight up loses to parry, like Cloud and Ike and Greninja, those characters I do think are going to fall a little lower on the tier list. But for now, while we are still... Again, the game is still relatively new and we're still learning things. Ike is very, very good. And now we have Young Link. I think Young Link is the best of the Links. He is pretty fast. He is very mobile. The fire arrows are super good. They send you straight up, combos into more things, into potentially kill confirms. He just overall very, very solid character. His really only struggles, I think, are that he kind of struggles to kill, which again could be bad. Not could be bad, is bad. It could be better. Really, if he had a better kill option, he would, I think, instantly become top tier. But the fact of the matter is that he does struggle to kill more often than not. Because, like, overall, Young Link has just a really good overall character. Has really good neutral, pretty good at advantage state, manageable disadvantage. Yeah, overall great character. Why is my nose so itchy? Guys, if any of you guys know why the nose gets super itchy sometimes, let me know, because this is killing me. Anyways, we now have Sonic the Hedgehog, everyone's favorite, right? So, Sonic, I think, is instant top tier when he's played online. I think in offline, he is right here, around high tier. It's not to say like Sonic's get carried online, because you still need to know the game, but they definitely have a lot more options available to them when they are online. A lot of the stuff that is available offline, or that is available online, isn't necessarily as free offline, because now people can react to stuff. And I know this is itchy as hell, I feel you. Yeah, this is garbage. It happens like once in a blue moon, and of course it's going to happen as soon as I start streaming. But I digress. Sonic has a lot of the stuff that you see Sonics do, other than the camping, obviously, but a lot of the shield pressure and a lot of the just overall blipping all over your shield just comes from the fact that a lot of that stuff cannot be reacted to when you're online. Because I'm pretty sure a good connection for Smash Ultimate yields like 15 to 20 frames of input delay still. That's a good connection. Like, that's assuming I am right here and my brother is like over there and we are playing Smash together, like online. Like, that's 15 to 20 frames is significant, and to the point where Sonic can get away with a lot of the fake shield pressure online. So, but overall, very good defensive character. He can close the gap extremely quickly because he's fast. You got to go fast. Has Sonic's gotten results offline? I'm not entirely sure. I watched all the major tournaments before COVID happened, and so I like to think I am relatively involved with with the competitive scene. But I haven't seen a ton of offline Sonic. I think the last Sonic that like did really well was Wrath back at Frostbite, and he got I think 6th. So that's that. I think that's that was like the most recent like major tournament. But yeah, Sonic overall pretty good character. I do think he is kind of not greatly designed. That could just be because everybody hates the way he plays, but yeah, I don't know. Not very, out of curiosity, how do you think you'd fare in comparison to other Mewtwo mains like Zenkai? I don't think I would win. I do think I'd be able to put up a fight, but they have much more experience than me in tournaments, so I think it would be very ignorant of me to say that I am better than them. Anyways, moving on, we got Rosalina and Luma. A lot of people might put them lower or higher. I think it is kind of variable. I still honestly don't really know what to think about this character. Part of me wants to think that this character should be around here, but the buzz is just super, super good. And then part of me thinks that this character is legitimately good. And I am kind of leaning towards the latter. The kind of stuff that you can do with Luma is like crazy. Attack canceling is really good, and overall, just Rosalina has some really good stuff going for her. The fact that she can like control Luma, you can like pressure shield when you are from the other side of the stage is really good. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what is the downside to her? I guess like I didn't really think about this, but if I had to guess, the downside, first of all, she's an extremely tall character, so that's not good. It means she can get comboed relatively easily. She is floaty, so she will have trouble landing, but that also means she can get out of combos a little easier. Her recovery can be exploitable, but yeah, that's what I would say are like the main downsides. Again, that's just theory crafting. I haven't played a lot of Rosalinas. I did play the number 6 player in West Virginia at the last tournament that I went to in West Virginia, and he played Rosalina and Luma, and the matchup it definitely seemed like Mewtwo was either even or like slightly in Mewtwo's favor. So anyways, now we got the Samuses. Samus, I think, is super, super good. Probably, I don't know, I shouldn't even say the best zoner because we still have Pac-Man and Rob to get to. But Samus has really good tools to just wall people out with projectiles. The bomb covers so much ground, like an underrated amount of ground in front or behind you. It makes edge guarding and ledge trapping extremely good. Like, that's all super, super good. I cannot stress that enough. Quick is an absolute god. Wouldn't it be Sami based on English? One Samus, multiple Sami? Yeah, probably. So, but anyways, getting back on the topic. Yeah, the Samus is really, really good. Recovery is pretty nice. It's not amazing, but it is good enough where you can make it work. Having a Zair that long is really good. Yeah, overall, really good character. The only other thing I could say is that, again, they're big-bodied. Not necessarily big-bodied, but they're tall, so they can get comboed. Okay, moving on, we got Mega Man. I'm a little biased because I love Kamame. I think he is so much fun to watch. He has so much cool tech with this character. And yeah, just overall, I think Mega Man is just so good. Also, shoutouts to my boy Styles. You a homie. But Mega Man he's just all-around great zoner. I think Lemons can be very, very difficult to deal with for some characters. Like, if you don't have even like reflectors don't save you that much against the Lemons because they come out so quickly. Leaf Shield can be really annoying to deal with, but unfortunately, you could just like hold Shield the entire time. If you get poked by it, though, you're going to be taking quite a bit of damage. He's got relatively good tools to land with. Forward air is not bad to land with by any means. Back air is nothing to scoff at either. The shore you can up tilt, obviously good. You can combo into that with either the saw blade or the first 2 hits of back air, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, just overall really good character. Definitely has potential to zone people out. Also is one of Mewtwo's worst matchups. Next up we got Cloud. Cloud, I think, is an all-around great character. With outside of like recovery, he's a character that relies a lot on neutral, so not necessarily stringing together a ton of combos. It's mainly just finding your time to go in, a lot of conditioning. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. If you could play a good neutral, Cloud becomes extremely scary. Spargo obviously is fantastic. He is the best Cloud player in the world. And honestly, like, for how young he is too, like his skill ceiling is so high. So Cloud, just good all-around character. I also think statistically, I feel like I've read somewhere that based on usage stats, Cloud is like the most common character played online, which I think is pretty cool. Because why not? He's like a badass swordsman. Next up, we have Greninja. So, again, I'm not entirely sure where I want to put Greninja. I think there's a lot of Japan, I'm pretty sure, thinks Greninja is like a top 3 character in the game, which I don't know about that, but Greninja definitely has some tools. A very good rushdown character, has a projectile, so if he's forced to fall back and play a little defensively, definitely can do that. His shield pressure is okay-ish. I don't want to say it's good because a lot of it is just nair into jabs or dash attack and then maybe dash back and do something else. So, and it's not necessarily super oppressive, which is kind of a little more necessary than most if you want to be a rushdown character. But he has, other than that, he has a lot of good things. He has a pretty good recovery, albeit it is exploitable. He has a counter, which is always good. He has a good combo game, good kill confirms. All of that stuff is really good. Space Fares. Oh yeah, Space Fares for what's it called? For shield pressure. But even then, you can just parry that. That stuff, that is very easy to see. Okay, moving on. We have... I want to say Roy and Chrom. I don't know. This is one I actually think I will let you guys decide. Either Croy or Mario, because I originally had Mario and then Chrom and Roy, but they both like are really good. Mario, just really good all-around character. Just super good fundamental-wise. Easy to play, hard to master, that kind of deal. Combo game is crazy, crazy good. Roy and Chrom, I think, are super good rushdown swordsmen. They obviously play different. I do think Roy is a little bit better than Chrom. Roy and Croy are better than Mario, definitely. Okay, that's what I originally thought. So, yeah, we'll do this. So, like I said, Mario, really good character. I do think Marios are still learning how the character is played, because I think in the wrong hands, or at certain times, the Marios can get a little bit button mashy, where you are just like either doing tons of back airs or tons of like cross-ups on shield, and that can get very predictable. So I think given time, Mario could potentially surpass them and even be top tier. I know there are some people who would say that Mario is top 10, which might be crazy, but I can see in some arguments. Yeah, Mario, very, very good character. Chrom and Roy, like I said earlier, they're good rushdowns. They have disjoint, which is always good. Like I said, I do think Roy is a little bit better, simply from the stuff that he can get out of his sour spot. I think that is a lot more valuable than the consistency that Chrom has, though albeit it's very, very minimal. Did someone beat MKLeo with Mario? Yeah, it was Prodigy. He like 3-0'd MKLeo, which was crazy. Okay, I think... No, that's not it. We still got 2 more characters to go through. Next up, we got Inkling. The Inkling hype train has fallen. I do think Inkling was highly overrated at the start. A lot of people were saying Inkling was like the best character in the game, and obviously that's not the case anymore. A lot of people still put Inkling at top tier. I don't think that's the case. It's just we just haven't seen enough results. And also, I think as a character, Inkling does have a significant weakness in killing that is problematic. Like, not being able to kill is kind of not good. I don't know how another way to put it. But yeah, this is where I would put Inkling. Like, overall, really good character. I've actually heard a lot of people say that Inkling's the most melee character. Really good dash stance, has basically Jigglypuff back air where it's disjointed. You have an up throw into up airs for a kill confirm, and you have Marthritis where you struggle to kill. So anybody who says Joker carries MKLeo, please leave my chat. Like, what are you talking about? The character got nerfed. Doubt he could be number 1. I'm pretty sure he was number 1. He was winning tournament after tournament when he was using Lucina and Ike. I'm not gonna further. You guys now know how I feel about that, but I'm not gonna get any further into that. MKLeo is crazy good. Joker, I'm not saying that Joker isn't, but to say that Joker cannot or Joker carries MKLeo, I think is a little silly. Next up, we got Olimar, and this is going to round out the high tier. I do think there is a very good case that you can make for Olimar to be top tier. I think the nerfs for Olimar in the previous patch, I forget which one it was, but that is pretty significant. It obviously made him bigger, and this, I don't know. I feel like there's just some matchups that he cannot win. I shouldn't say that, because if that were true, he would be like down here. But there are some matchups where he could definitely struggle. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like he is really, really good. Like I said, he has potential to be top tier, but I feel like he's just missing some, like, 1 or 2 things that are really put him at the top. So I think that is it for the high tier. You think Bowser needs a full rework of his specials? I don't know. I think Bowser's specials are fine. Joker, I can definitely see being a contender for the best in the game. I don't agree with it personally, but that's what I think. Anyways, let's now get to top tier because I've been streaming for quite a while. Let's start with Rob. This is the gatekeeper for top tier in my opinion. Rob is so good. He has combos out the wazoo, good projectiles, gyro confirms are insane. He has basically everything you want in a top tier. Good neutral air, he can shield pressure very, very well. The best down tilt in the entire game. And really his one glaring flaw, and it's a big flaw, is that he is a big body and he's heavy. So he gets comboed to hell and back. And that is a problem. I don't think it is big enough where it puts him any lower than top tier, but Rob is he's so good. Like, I don't even know what else to say. I feel like I'm just gonna say the same thing for the rest of the top tiers, but Rob in general I think is fantastic. Can I move the camera? How? If it's the glare, unfortunately, it's not a lot I can do. I can maybe do that. I don't know. mentions the top tier, immediately starts talking about Nair. Well, let's talk about another Nair. We got Pac-Man. Pac-Man, I think, is maybe the best zoner in the game? Trying to think of the rest of the characters. Yeah, potentially. I used to put these two down in high tier, but I was thinking to myself, what is stopping me from putting these guys at top tier? Because the thing about them is that they zone you out, but when you get in on them, like when you finally close the gap, they have really good buttons. They fight you like a high tier. It's crazy how, like, they are extremely underrated up close, both Rob and Pac-Man. Oh, face cam is blocked. Oh, right. I am sorry, guys. 1 second. That should be better. Is that better? Yes, cool. I know how to work a stream. Yeah, okay. Anyways, Pac-Man, like I said, really good zoner, good projectiles, bonus fruit. If it wasn't for Monado Arts, I think would be the best projectile, or best neutral B in the entire game. Whereas DK is all the way down here. But yeah, overall, I think these two are some of the best zoners in the entire game. Anyways, we got Mr. Game & Watch next. It feels... do I want to put Game & Watch here? Yeah, I'll put Game & Watch here. I think this character is really good. He cannot be trapped in this shield. He has combos out of shield, which I think is insane. I do think a lot of Game & Watches play a little too brain dead to the point where they should be doing something else. Like, those who are just spamming down smash, I don't think is smart. But if you play Game & Watch correctly, he has potential to just combo you to instantly do 100%. I think that's just... I don't know if you can argue that. Meister is crazy good. I do think it did definitely take a top player to actually play him, because Meister is a god. He went from unranked to top 10 PGR from season 1 to season 2. It's really good. So yeah, really good character. Gonna sound like a broken record, but Pokemon Trainer is also really good. Do I think I could beat Fatality? I have no clue where I stand in terms of that skill level. Pokemon Trainer, I used to think was like very overrated. Like, if you were to ask me a year ago, I would say Pokemon Trainer was like around here. But as the games have gone on, and the more Pokemon Trainers I played against, and obviously DD, obviously he's the online GOAT, but watching DD play, like this guy is so good, and girl. Combos for days. You can basically choose when you want, like what percentage range you want to be killed at. That's always good. You have a Pokemon that covers both low, medium, and high percents, which, again, having that option is really nice. Obviously, there are going to be times where you are forced into playing a certain Pokemon, but I think that struggle is worth it for how many positives that PT offers. Okay, moving on. We got Lucina. Lucina represents everything that you need for good fundamentals. She is just an all-around good swordsman, and there's not really much else to say. I feel like she just plays how you would expect a swordsman to play, and does it well. She ledge traps very well. She has a disjoint because she's a sword character. She beats out a lot of other attacks. She can punish full hops out of shield with both, with just from a short hop, which is crazy good, because normally if you want to punish a full hop out of shield, you need to full hop yourself, but she can just short hop into back air, or short hop into forward air. That's really good. She plays a very good neutral. She does struggle, I think, when she cannot get in. Obviously, I feel like that's a given. So I can see... I don't know what her matchup chart looks like, but I can see herself getting walled out by Pikachu. I can see herself kind of getting destroyed by someone who closes distance very, very quickly, someone like Fox. But if she can keep someone like within that tipper range of her sword, she is like really, really good. So, moving on, we have Fox. Speak of the devil, Fox is really good. I do think, again, if you were to ask me like a year ago, I would have said he was right here, but I've come to my senses. Fox is top tier. Extremely, extremely fast. Basically embodies everything good about being a rushdown character. He closes the distance quickly. He gets in your face. He pressure shield extremely well. Has very good frame data. Overall, everything you want in a good character, and that I think in itself is very good. Obviously, he is the fastest follower in the entire game. He can't get comboed for days. He dies extremely early. I'm pretty sure he's lighter than Mewtwo, so that's not good. Yeah, Fox overall great character. Next we have Shulk, and a lot of people were angry at me that I put Shulk in high tier. I don't know. I still am not fully sold on Shulk being this high. Like, I think I would like to ideally put Shulk down here, but the theory crafting with him is super good, and I think that alone is significant, where you kind of need to respect that and see how high of a skill. Like, if given the skill ceiling, Shulk can be like up here, if not one of the best, if not the best character in the game. So that's what I would say. Okay, who else do we have? We are almost done. We got Zero Suit Samus, and my nose is still itchy. Zero Suit, again, I would have been, like a year ago, I would have said she's high tier. I think just having a disadvantage as manageable as hers is so good. It's like, I don't know, flip kick, down B is such an amazing, such a versatile move, where I think anytime she's backed into a corner, or anytime she needs to recover, or just get out of that area that she's in, flip kick is just does that job, and does it really well. Her disadvantage is just so good. She combos people very, very well. Has a very good advantage state. I don't know what she does for ledge trapping. I want to say it's like probably ledge traps with the down smash and neutral B, that kind of deal. But overall, very good character. Mars saying ZSS sucks is only saying that because he doesn't want her to get nerfed. But also, he does have, I think he does, I think Mars does kind of rate ZSS lower than most people. I think ZSS is very, very good. Let's see. Wario and Wolf. I'm putting these two together because I think they serve very similar purposes, in that having one of these two as your pocket is so good. Like, having a pocket Wolf or a pocket Wario is, I think, if you are looking to play at a top level, is pretty essential. They are so good as pockets, but they are also, the thing is, they are also good at just regular characters, just as someone you main. Wario, obviously with Waft, that comeback factor is crazy. You have kill confirms into that. That is so good. Wolf can basically play every single playstyle. If you want to, if a person is playing zone, you have lasers that are transcendent, which means they just go through anything. If you want to play aggro, you have neutral air, you have basically any kind of aerial you want to pressure shield. And oh my god, you are right. Wario is the best heavy. Well, yeah, I don't know. I still haven't put Snake here, which is coming up next. But yeah, Wario, great combo game, really good recovery. Waft, comeback mechanic that basically means you need to play as if you're playing 2.5 stocks. Crazy, crazy good. Wolf basically embodies any kind of playstyle you want and does it all very, very well. And that in itself is so, so valuable. Like, I don't think there's any matchup where Wolf loses more than 6-4. He is so versatile. Anyways, we now have Snake. I do think Snake is still really good. Despite I know there's not a lot of, like, I guess, top players playing him. And obviously with the whole COVID thing, we haven't seen any tournaments in general. But I still think Snake is extremely, extremely good. He is heavy. He zones so well. Grenades coming out frame 1 are crazy good. They make it a mini combo breaker. He has good ledge trapping. He has the up smash in general at the ledge just invalidates some options. It just invalidates sometimes just getting off of there. Sometimes you just gotta take it, and that in itself is really good. Yeah, just overall, if you can, and the thing is about Snake, is that even when you get in on him, he has pretty good buttons. Like, his jab is pretty good. Neutral air, down air, all that stuff is really, really good. So, I think Snake is really good. I don't know if I made that clear. Up tilt crazy good on Snake. Yeah, also up tilt has like 9 billion hours of hit stun, of shield stun. Just because I say Waft is a comeback mechanic because you can instantly just jump ahead into the lead with it. You don't necessarily need to be losing to get it. That's not how a comeback mechanic functions. When I say comeback mechanic, I mean if you are losing, you have that in your back pocket to get it. It's not necessarily it just comes out when you are losing, but it can be useful when you're losing. That's the definition of a comeback mechanic in my opinion. Why is Mewtwo so high? Because I main the character. Anyways, we have the last 4 characters. Next up, we're putting Joker. I think Joker by himself without Arsene is still really good, but with Arsene puts him over the top. I think Joker is an incredible character. I don't think he is unbeatable. He definitely beats a majority of the cast. In fact, all of these characters do. But he, just like before Arsene, he's like a good character. He's not amazing, but he's good. But then when you put Arsene, he just blows you away. Obviously, having the best player in the world playing him definitely helps. Like MK Leo, I think just having him maining Joker definitely has made him a contender for the best character in the game. So if like we have another top player maining like I shouldn't say these characters, but like maining some of these characters, you know, who knows what could happen. Maybe these characters can move to the top tier. Anyways, now we have Peach and Daisy. I still think these characters are better than Joker. A lot of people can argue with me on that. I'm pretty sure they lose to Joker, which is something to note, but I do think, that was disgusting. I do think the princesses are very, very good. Flow cancels are super oppressive. Their shield pressure is really, really strong. Recovery, obviously, being able to float in general is good. And overall, just fantastic combo game. Just, like, quite literally, I know I say, like, Falco combos you to 80 and kills you at 80. These characters quite literally will true combo you to, like, 60-70%. And that, in itself, is so good. Why is Jigglypuff high-ish tier? I mean, it's upper mid-tier. It's still mid-tier. So, that's what I would say. Anyways, moving on, I don't necessarily know where to put these guys, because I honestly think you can make an argument for Pikachu, Palutena, Peach, or Joker as the best character in the game. I don't know what that answer is. I personally think Pikachu is probably the best character, but even if he is the best character, he still has some losing matchups. Like, I'm pretty sure he still loses to Ness, which is a very weird losing matchup. He loses the Game & Watch, absolutely. But I'm not sure. Palutena, I'm pretty sure, just strictly from tournament results, is the best. At least that's what I've seen from the chart that I saw, which I think is important to take into account. Then again, there are a lot of good Palutenas in the world, so that obviously has some sway in the results. But overall, these characters, these four, I think, are the best in the game. They have the least amount of losing matchups. They all can beat each other, I think, decently well. Excuse me. And yeah, overall, fantastic combo games. Obviously, they have their weaknesses. Jokers are Sen, can't get outplayed by camping. Peach and Daisy are relatively big-bodied, or at least like wide, I want to say. So they do get comboed, and they're tall, so they do get comboed and can lose to out of shield stuff. Palutena, I mean, probably gets comboed like hell. I honestly don't know what the main Palutena weakness is. I would probably say, yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know. She does have like one broken thing. Neutral Air used to be her broken thing, but now she just has a bunch of really, really good stuff. And then Pikachu, obviously, super light. Did I fat shame Peach and Daisy? Oh, I'm sorry. I was mainly talking about their dress. Actually, their dress doesn't count as a hurt box. I completely disregard everything I said about Peach and Daisy. They are not wide, but they are tall. And being tall in this game kind of sucks. Being tall and wide sucks, which is what we have with Mewtwo. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it. Let me take one last look before I call the stream. Do I think Cosmos picking up Corrin will move her up? Absolutely. This is assuming we go back to normal online or offline tournaments. But assuming that happens, I definitely see Corrin being up here because he has shown some really, really good stuff. I think Mewtwo should be lower. Everybody thinks Mewtwo should be lower. He's so big. So is Rob. Don't at me. How do you think they fix Mewtwo's big body and lightweight combination? It's not something you fix, in my opinion. I think it's something that will keep him from being here, from being in the top tier, but it doesn't stop him from being high tier. I mean, if you want a character that has a really high skill cap, Pikachu, absolutely. Like, people who say that Pikachu is brain dead are the people I don't take very seriously when talking about this game. Pikachu is so difficult to play at the top level. What do I think of the Buzz's tier list? You know, I actually saw it this morning. I love the Buzz, but I don't know. I really don't know. Let's see. Mewtwo has no problems with this tail. Go out and step on a cat's tail in real life. See where that gets you. I'm not saying that it isn't a problem. I'm just saying that it's not a fix. Like, if we're talking about when I think about something that needs fixing, it's something that does not work the way it's supposed to. They clearly made the tail hurt box there because Mewtwo should get hurt when he gets hit in the tail, as most animals do. I think the only exception where there's like no tail hurt box is with Charizard. And Charizard has problems of his own. And he's already a big character in general. So Like, it's weird. Villager is not high tier. Villager is upper mid tier. This is high tier. This is top tier. So I think that's gonna be it. Do any of y'all have any questions to me? I'd be more than willing to do a quick little Q&A before I end the stream. Would I consider doing a collaboration with other YouTubers, maybe Little Z? Well, I cannot do a collaboration with Little Z, simply because he definitely has other plans. And because I am very, very small YouTuber compared to him. Didn't I want to move the Shotos? Oh, that's right. Maybe put him, like, right here. Yeah, that seems right. I would clap Little Z. I can't really confirm or deny, but if we're playing from New York to Australia connection, hell no, I'm not clapping him. Does Mewtwo have high tier potential? Absolutely. I still think we as Mewtwo mains are still learning what we need to really do with the character. When should we be expecting the Meta Knight stream? That is a great question. I do not know, but I will definitely be streaming it, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It's funny. Meta Knight was my main back in Brawl, and I didn't play Brawl competitively at all. I was still like 10, 11 years old when that game came out, so... Who do I think has the biggest potential to go up on the tier list? That is a great question. So, from here, which I will go ahead and make another tier. We'll put this like right here. I'll say high tier / top tier potential. All right. So who has potential to move up? Falcon, I would say. I still don't know. Again, this is just whether I think they'll be like they can get higher. I think Mewtwo is here. I think Sheik is here. I think Falco is here. Honestly, I'll put Bayo here. The SDI thing I think is really significant. Young Link? Yeah, I could kind of see that. I could put that there. Let's see. Maybe I'll put Lucas. I'm still not entirely sure. I still think Lucas has some glaring flaws. We're just losing to swords. Kind of sucks. I will put Corrin here. Corrin, I do think will like maybe like will cap out at upper mid tier, but I do think she has potential. Marth, yeah, sure. I can put that there too. Samus, I think, is probably good where they are. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good start. I think these 8 characters probably are the characters I would put as being the highest potential to like move up on the tier list. Anyways, let me move them back down to where they were. I think I put Corrin like right here or right here somewhere. Lucas was like somewhere over here. Young Link was like somewhere over here. Bayo was like right here. Falco is over here somewhere. Sheik is like right here. Mewtwo, and then Falcon. Okay, who do you think fell the most down the tier list from patch nerfs? I mean, no one really got nerfed this patch, which is the thing. Like, technically Ridley, if we really wanted to say anything. Because that down B counting as a grab kind of sucks. But, yeah. Anyways, back to questions. As a Mewtwo main, what characters do you watch out for the most? If by that you mean what characters do I think Mewtwo struggles the most against, I would say probably Fox, Falco, Link. Yeah, that's a good start. Shotos, yes, can absolutely be deadly. I do think SDI, or not SDI, but DI hurts them a little bit, and so if you know how to do that, also if you know how to space them out and wall them out with projectiles, that makes it a lot more doable of a matchup. But what is the most important thing to work on to improve with Mewtwo? Neutral. Learn neutral, absolutely. What is your idea to remake Little Mac? I don't have one, but I just know it needs to happen if he wants to be good. Shoto's always faced Mewtwo. Yep. Little Mac does have it confirmed from like fast fall up air into up B technically, but that's about it. Like, I don't know. Little Mac is just not good. So I think with that, I'm going to end off the stream. This was a lot of fun to make. My voice is kind of dead, so I'm going to go rest. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, I will keep this video up so you guys can look it over and see how many times I either scratch my nose and but yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. The stream will be up on YouTube for public, so you guys can rewatch. And yeah, like I said, this is just my opinion. Do not take it to heart. You should never take any tier list to heart. That's not cool. And yeah, just take everything with a grain of salt. My opinions are inherently biased, and a lot of stuff I say is wrong. Partially because I don't have a lot of things, or I don't have a ton of matchup knowledge with a lot of these guys. So there we go. Figure out a combo into disable, Shadow Ball into disable. Very easy. Anyways, I'll see